What are you doing?
Recording everything.
You don't know how people feel about being recorded?
You don't have to post them.
Hey guys, so I've been here for a long time. I came here at 3 a.m., but they said I wasn't dilated. So they sent me home, came back at 11 something, and still wasn't dilated. So they went ahead and admitted me because today is Christmas. It is December 25th, 2024. I am exactly 40 weeks today, so I'm getting more than likely induced because this baby is being stubborn. So yeah, they moved me to my room and we are getting everything going. I am eating because I'm hungry. I don't really know what's gonna happen in the next few hours, but I will try to keep you guys updated. I am in pain, if you are wondering. Don't have no kids. That's my advice to all y'all out there. Don't have any kids, and I'm getting a contraction. Hold on. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness. Whew. Okay. It's dying down, y'all. I'm gonna finish my food and I'll check in with y'all at the next stage.
So after about, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes of contractions, straight?
I have no words.
Alright, y'all. This isn't what y'all used to, I know. She is currently knocked out on some fentanyl and some other meds. Been a long day, especially for her. Y'all women go through a lot more than what I thought. I thought it was just like period cramps back to back, but this is a whole nother level. So for the fathers out there, make sure you're present if you can be, because this is a very significant time for them especially. They need the support. I don't really understand how fathers can't be here for their children for stuff like this. That emotional toll on top of the physical, on top of everything else is just crazy. Women are designed to withstand a lot more than I thought. So respect to all the women out there who had kids, who's gonna have kids, women in general, props to you. But yeah, she's dozing off right now. Pains are going down, it seems, at least from all the medications. But she's doing great, she's hanging in there. For someone who's not really pain tolerant, she ain't screaming or nothing crazy, so she's doing phenomenal. Anywho, it's 8:52, y'all. We've been here for quite some time, so still hoping to see if it's a Christmas baby, but if not, you know, I'll take the 26, I'll settle. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a day of yours and not shared with Christ, you know? Just a back here. There she go. That's not her neck, that's the table. But yeah, there she go. Family, yes. And just a small little glimpse. Hold on, let me get out the camera. So. Until later, guys. Yeah. She got admitted around 12:30 noon. It's now 1:13 in the morning. Her water finally broke around 10 something. From there, she was dilated enough to receive epidural. She's resting now. Had a slight scare, but things are okay now. We're just waiting. It's a waiting game now, so she's numb enough to where she feels pressure, but not actual pain, so to speak. But I can show just a little glimpse of her knocked out. Very comfy. Alright, peeps. You can see she's trying to rest, or at least trying to subside the pain. They have her on her side right now because epidural works with gravity, and she needs to be on that side so she doesn't feel these contractions that intensify and get closer together. I have learned a lot being in this hospital. I don't know half of this stuff. I know about dilation, like 10 centimeters, but that was all I came in here knowing. Right now, she is at 8 centimeters. They confirmed it. Water broke, meaning active labor, about 11 hours ago. She can't wait to get out of here. That's her tight. We impatient to an extent. It's been a long time. She's just like, man, get this baby out of me. And I don't fault her on that. Once the doctors get done in the OR, I think they have a C-section going on. Once they get done in the OR, they'll come in here and speak on what's the next steps to help get baby lamb out. So it is 9:15 in the morning. So they said she's at 9 centimeters and just about complete and ready for delivery. We're just waiting on the doctor to reconfirm and just get things started. Yeah, she's in a lot of pains if you don't hear the moans and the groans in the background. It is 11:04 in the morning, so stay tuned and yeah, just keep her in prayer.
You're gonna, and then you're gonna push like you're trying to poop. It really is like having the biggest poop of your life.
It
Okay?
is. You want to take a deep breath in, fill up your lungs, keep that air in.
Oh.
It's literally, you know how you jump into the water, you hold your breath in, curl over your baby, same position, and you want to push like you're pooping. And go. All you got. 1, 2, 3,
Yep,
4,
that's it.
5, 6, 7, 8. And right back into it, okay? One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There you
10.
go. There you go.
Good.
Can you do one more like that? Can you do one more just like that?
Deep breath. 1, 2,
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn Mickey. Deep breath in. And pull you, cannonball, and push, 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 push. All you got. Okay.
Stacy, where we at? When you're cooking. So we gotta make it down a little bit further for us to use a vacuum. If not, the option's gonna be forceps delivery or a C-section, okay? If I have to do forceps, are you okay with that? Alright, they're kind of like spoons, but as you push, I help to give a little bit of extra pressure to guide the baby out, okay? I prefer to do the vacuum if we can get baby down low enough, but if baby's up too high, the vacuum's not gonna work for us, okay? I'm hoping over the next couple contractions we can keep baby happy enough that we can hopefully just get baby out naturally, unassisted. That would be my hope, okay?
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Oh my god. Push, 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 push. You got it. Push, push, push,
You're moving
push.
that baby. Go
Good
again.
job.
Do it again.
Do
Do it again. Go.
Push,
1,
push, push,
2,
push,
yep.
push,
There you go.
push,
That's it.
Like that.
push, 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 push.
Do it again. Move your baby
Go,
down.
go, go. Push,
2,
push,
yep.
push,
That's it.
push,
4,
push,
5,
push,
yep.
push,
6,
push,
7,
push,
8,
push, push,
10.
push.
Look at that baby.
Are almost
We're a lot of
36 hours postpartum because we had him at 12:56.
so about 34 hours.
34 hours postpartum. Baby boy is better. He had some complications yesterday with regulating his body temperature, but he is okay now. It's 10:30, almost at night on December 27th. I am physically tired, but mentally I am wide awake because I'm nervous for him. So who knows if I'll get any sleep. My husband will. He sleeps through.
Amen. God bless America.
I have been hand expressing colostrum because he's having a hard time latching, but God willing, we will get that under control. But yeah, all is well. Definitely a journey these past few days, but 100% worth it. Okay, you guys, so let me just give y'all a quick tea. I went ahead and jumped straight into the labor and delivery video. I did not do the whole welcome to my channel. This is 4 months postpartum. You guys, I cannot believe that it's taking me this long to sit down and finally really get this part of the video, but it's been a rough past 4 months. Well, the first month and a half was rough. After that, everything has gotten so much better. If I'm being honest, and these are excuses, but I'm being honest with you guys, I was very fearful. I was afraid to just get ready and get behind the camera and film because I felt like, you know, my baby would be crying hysterically. I wouldn't have time to get it done. But I'm back and we here. So I wanted to just talk to you guys about what you saw in my labor and delivery experience, because there are certain parts that we did not film. Nothing that was like, you know, crazy and wild and just horrible, but we just really didn't film it. So my son was born on December 26th, 2024 at about 12:53 p.m. We wanted him to come on Christmas so badly, but he was taking his time. We're gonna rewind to a couple of days before I gave birth. I started having contractions. I went into what is called latent labor, which is basically like your body preparing for the actual labor experience. So the 23rd of December is when I really started having contractions. They were very, very far apart. It was like once every 20 to 25 minutes, but they were strong, you guys. It was to the point where I really couldn't get good sleep at night. Now, a contraction really is basically like a menstrual cramp, but times 10, if that makes sense. So I started going into what was called a latent labor on that Monday and Tuesday. So that let me know that, you know, baby boy was getting ready to arrive. And it was right on time too, because by that week I was 40 weeks, I was full term. My doctor had added me to an induction list. So if things had not started rolling naturally, I was set to be induced on Wednesday, which was the 25th, my due date, Christmas. I think it was Wednesday, early Wednesday morning at like 3 a.m. It got to the point where my contractions were really, really strong. They were closer and closer together. I think it was something like my contractions were every 20 minutes or so on Monday. Tuesday was about the same. It was like every 15. And then by that early Wednesday morning, they were about like every 10 minutes apart. So I was scared. You know, this is my first baby, so I was scared. I went to go get checked, and there was a guy in a labor delivery triage. He did what was called a cervix check to see, you know, if I was dilating, if my water had broken or anything like that. And let me tell y'all, them cervix checks hurt. I think out of my entire birth experience, the cervix check was the worst. The guy that did my very first cervix check, he was not gentle at all, and he had huge thick fingers. Like it hurt. I was on the table screaming, like I was crying because of the pain. Everything is kind of real tender down there when you start labor. And then I was having contractions, so it was just a whole bunch of pain. I remember just like my body like wrenching up, and I was like tearing. It was so painful, you guys. But he did all that just to tell me basically I wasn't dilated. So he told me to go home, or I could even stay at the hospital for a few minutes. He told me to just basically start moving. You know, the more you work your baby down, the easier or the faster your labor is going to start. I wouldn't say easier. I would say the faster your labor is going to start. So that's what we did. Well, not initially. After like 3 something in the morning when he told us to go home, I went back home and I tried to go to sleep. I tried to go to sleep. That's what I mean. I couldn't really go to sleep because my contractions kept waking me up. So by that Wednesday morning, I went outside with my husband because he was here for the birth. He had to go back to his deployment after the baby was born. So me and my husband went outside Christmas morning, and we were walking up and down the street. You guys, I was walking on the curb, so that's where you like put one foot on the curb and the other foot's like down on the road, and you're just kind of walking up and down like that. I did that. I tried bouncing on the ball for a little bit, but nothing was really kind of starting my labor the way that it should have. And honestly, I think that was because I just wasn't doing enough. When you're 9 months pregnant and you're already starting to have contractions, you really don't want to do too much. For me, that's how I felt. It was a lot. I didn't really want to do it. So I don't think that I did enough of it. It got to the point where Wednesday at some time, I don't remember, I lost my mucus plug. That is something that happens when you begin your labor process. So when I saw that, I notified my husband. we need to go to the hospital. So that second time I went to the hospital, I told them what happened. So at that point, they gave me the option. They were like, okay, are you ready to be admitted to the hospital to start your process? And I said yes, because I did not want to go back home and walk on the curb, bounce on the ball, sit here and have these contractions at home. No. So I told them, yes, I want to be admitted. I didn't go home after that second time I went to the hospital. I stayed there and they admitted me to a room. Once we got to the room, it was a pretty chill process. I had some great nurses there. They would come and do cervix checks every few hours. I was not dilating. It was taking forever for me to dilate. So they ended up having to put what they call a balloon. They put the balloon inside. And I think around Wednesday night at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, that's when my water finally broke, which was not painful at all. It was not painful. They did get me started on Pitocin. Throughout the process, it can be very scary, you guys. There was multiple times where my baby's heartbeat kept dropping, and nurses, they literally had like this sheet under me, and on both sides of the sheet there was handles. So the nurses would come in, they would rush in multiple times, and they would just flip my body from side to side. Mind y'all, I'm 190 something pounds, 9 months pregnant. I was huge. So for them to come in and just start flipping me like back and forth like a fish, it was not comfortable at all. But they said that they had to keep my body in some sort of a movement in order to keep the baby's heartbeat and heart rate elevated. So that was scary. I remember there was one time I was laying down and I was kind of dozing off, and like 4 or 5 nurses just barged into my room, and my sister was there with me at the time. I think my husband had gone home to take care of our animals, and they barged in all frantic and they just started flipping me back and forth. And my sister was in the background like, what's going on? What's going on? And they would not answer her. So she was terrified. And by the time that they got everything stable, they told her that my baby's heartbeat was dropping drastically and it was very dangerous. I don't know why I'm getting kind of choked up at this, but it was very dangerous. And they said that they had to take immediate action and they could not talk to her in that moment, because at that point it was about saving me and saving my baby. So whatever they did, they eventually got it kind of like leveled out. Finally got my epidural at like 4 centimeters dilated. The epidural did not hurt at all. If you have a really good anesthesiologist, your epidural should not hurt. And I'm saying that because that was my experience. The epidural was something that I wasn't sure that I wanted to get, but once I started feeling those contractions, I was like, oh no, epidural, epidural. Like, it's not even a discussion, epidural. So when they gave it to me, I didn't really feel it. Like, it was kind of like a tightness in my back where they like poked me, but it wasn't anything like a sharp pain, a burning pain. There was no pain at all with getting my epidural. And it was great. Once I got the epidural, I was kind of more chill and mellowed out, but it got to a point, I think a few hours later after the epidural, it started to wear off and I could feel a lot of pain and pressure in my legs. So they had to call the anesthesiologist again, and he gave me fentanyl, which was something that I didn't even think was allowed or possible when you're going through your labor and delivery process. So I guess fentanyl was the next option since the epidural was starting to wear off. And when he gave me that fentanyl, you guys, I was knocked out. Before the fentanyl, I was really fussy and I was telling everybody, y'all need to do something because I'm feeling this and this is a problem. I'm tired of this. I'm over this whole situation. So the guy came in, gave me the fentanyl, and I knocked out. That fentanyl put me right to sleep, you guys. Like, I was out. And that's pretty much how my labor process went for a long time. They kept coming in to check me, and I finally got to a point, it wasn't until Thursday morning, December 26th, that's when I got to a point where I was finally dilated enough and ready to push. But before that, I got so pissed off. Every time they would come in and check my cervix just to tell me that I wasn't ready yet, it was so aggravating because cervix checks hurt. They hurt. So every time that they came in to check me, I was hoping, okay, this is gonna be the time where I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get this done. And they kept saying, no, you're almost there. No, you're almost there. I was so sick of hearing that. You're almost there. Stop telling me I'm almost there. If it's not time for me to push, I don't want to hear nothing else. So fast forward, you guys, they came and checked me, and by then I was pissed off, I was irritated, I was over it. I got to a point, I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. Whatever you guys have to do to get this baby out of me, do it. I did not want a C-section. That was something that I said when I first got pregnant. I never wanted to have a C-section. I didn't want them to use any type of you know, devices to get my baby out, like the clamps, the forceps, whatever they had, the vacuum. I didn't want them to use none of that stuff. I wanted to have as natural of a birth as I could, minus the epidural. But by that point, y'all, I was like, look, I don't care. If you gotta do a C-section to get this baby out, do a C-section. Because I was like, look, I'm big, my back hurts, I'm tired. And my husband was like, Francesca, stop. You're just irritated. You're speaking nonsense. But I was like, I don't care. I'm not trying to hear none of this. Y'all get out of my ear, y'all get out of my face. Get this baby out. And when I got to that point, that's when they came to check me and they were like, okay, you're 9 centimeters. We're gonna go ahead and get you to start pushing. Pushing was the hardest thing that I had to do in my life. As you guys could see, I had to push my baby out with the worst headache that I have ever had in my life. I already knew that this was going to be difficult because my head was raging. So when I started to push, it was so hard, you guys. I used basically almost all of my strength. I'm gonna say almost because you'll find out in a minute. It was hard because with every push, I was putting more strain on my headache. I felt lightheaded, like I was gonna pass out at some point. But as I kept pushing, as you saw in the clip, the doctor came around the corner from one of the nurses and she basically told me that, look, this is where we are. You're pushing, but your baby is not coming down in the way that he needs to come down. So she said, we're gonna go through one more little round of pushing, and if he does not come down, we're gonna have to talk about doing a C-section. And when she said that, I was filled with fear. I think you guys saw, and I put a little note in the clip. My sister was sitting there next to me when the doctor told me that, and we were all scared. No one in my family wanted me to have a C-section. Just to hear the doctor say, you know, I know you're pushing, it's not enough, we might have to do surgery. I was terrified. I instantly started crying. And you can see my sister rubbing my shoulder, and she's like, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Because my fear was, if I got a C-section, one of us, me or my baby, was not gonna make it out. When she told me that C-section might be possible or might be an option, you guys, that's when I got myself together and I was like, okay, I'm about to use every ounce of strength that I have, and I'm gonna push this baby. I'm gonna push this baby because I refuse to go under anesthesia like that and possibly not wake up to be here for my baby. Like, when it came time to push again, I didn't care that I had a headache. I didn't care that I couldn't breathe properly. I didn't care about anything. But Francesca, you better give it all you got. Like, that's what I told myself. And it hurt. And the baby was coming down a lot more than he initially was, which was a good sign. They did also tell me that it was possible that I had to get a vacuum or like the forceps, but thanks be to God, we never had to use any of that because I was pushing so hard. As it's really a beautiful experience to be sitting there pushing. You're scared because you don't know if you're pushing the right way, if you're doing it right, if you're doing enough. But the doctors and the nurses were really supportive, and they, you know, just kept telling me, keep going, keep going, keep going. He's right here. In the moment, I was scared. I was a little frustrated because they kept telling me, you're almost there, you're almost there. He's right there. But to me, I just felt like, okay, if my baby's head is not poking out, don't tell me he's right here. You know, if he's still up the canal, he ain't here. But I get it. You know, they were just trying to encourage me, and I just really wasn't trying to hear all of it in the moment. I think I pushed for about an hour. It was like 50 minutes or so that I pushed, and he was here. He came out crying, all of that. Because I don't know if every mother experiences this or if it was just me. When my baby finally came out and they placed him on me, I can't even describe it. It wasn't that I didn't feel love. I was more so in shock. I was just like, what happened? And I'm just staring at my baby like, I did start to cry a little bit, but I was just staring at my baby like, okay, this is real. Like, this just happened. I think more so what was going on in my mind was, okay, he's here. What do I do next? I was kind of in a panic mode a little bit still because I'm a first-time mom. I didn't know what to do. My mind just kind of instantly jumped to, okay, what happens when he needs his diaper changed? what happens when he needs to be fed, what happens when he's crying and he's not hungry or need to be changed and he's just crying. What do? I didn't know anything about being a mom. My sister has kids and I have other family members with kids, but I've never taken care of a baby, of a newborn. I've never done it. So many people tell you, you know, you're not gonna have all the answers, you're not gonna have it all figured out, you're gonna learn as you go, and that is so true. Because after I had my baby, I did have my mother-in-law here and my husband, but they were only here for like 2 weeks. So that meant me being at home with a newborn baby, no knowledge, no background experience, like nothing. I did have my mother come out and see me as well, and she stayed for a couple of weeks, but that was broken up in between, you know? So my mother-in-law was here when the baby was first born, and then she left, and I had to tough it out on my own until my mom came and helped me for a couple of weeks. And then once she left, I was back to doing it on my own. And you guys, it was rough. So part of the reason why I never sat down to record this after my baby was born was because I was in the newborn trenches, and I was dealing with postpartum very heavily. I think if I had my husband here, or if I had someone here just on a daily basis to help me, it would have been an easier process. But to be a first-time mom and going through all of the motions by yourself, I think that was by far the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my life. The nights were hard as well. I dreaded the nights because I knew I wasn't gonna get a lot of sleep. I spent so many nights crying. My baby was colicky. He was colic for like the first couple of months. He didn't really start to get better until after my husband got home. Like a couple of weeks after my husband got home is when his colic got better. But you guys, it was tough. I did find some little tips and tricks to kind of help me along the way. So maybe I'll do a separate video on that. I don't want to do too much in this video, but it was tough. You guys, I definitely went through postpartum, but to God be the glory. I got out of it. I was thankful for my family that did come out to visit and help me with him. Overall, it was a hard experience, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would go back and do it tenfold, without question. I would. I love everything about him. That's kind of where we are now. My baby is 4 months. He is in size 2 diapers. He is now pushing 6 to 9 month clothing. He's so long and he's getting chunky. He sleeps about anywhere between a 4 to 6 hour stretch. We try to lay him down between 9 and 10 p.m. and he won't usually wake up until like 4 or 5, sometimes 6. And then he'll usually go back to sleep and he won't be up until like 9. So his sleep has definitely gotten better. My husband came home from deployment in the middle of February and he had to readjust. You know, the last time he saw his baby was a newborn, a legit newborn, like fresh out. And when he left to go back to deployment in another country, the baby was 2 weeks. So the last time he had saw his baby was 2 weeks. When he came home, the baby was 2 months. So he did miss a little bit. You know, there was a gap in there that he was not here. But I will say, having him here now on a daily basis is amazing. My labor and delivery experience was all around beautiful. I would do it again. We do plan to have more kids in the future. I want to say 1 more child because I really don't want to have more than 2. But we'll see. Definitely no time soon, you guys. Probably around the time that my son turns 2 is when we'll think about having another. But as of right now, we're just enjoying being first-time parents and life is great. We thank God every day for the blessing that he has given us just to be able to be parents and take care of him, give him the things that he needs. It is truly, it's a blessing. So yeah, you guys, I just wanted to just sit down and kind of talk to you guys about how everything went, since my husband did do a lot of like check-ins with you guys and I wasn't able to really talk. That is all. I definitely plan to do more videos in the future. Again, I have to put aside my fears and things that I'm afraid to do because he is a baby. You know, I can get stuff done with him. I just have to get out of my head and actually do it. I don't know what the next video will be, but I will definitely talk to you guys in the next one. Before you head out, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, my loves. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, babes.